I'm Tara Kirshner, the Executive Director of the Dory Schlossberg Foundation, and I would like to welcome everyone to the Survive the Drive Geico Road Safety Bicycle Tour that was hosted by the Dory Schlossberg Foundation in collaboration with the Florida State University Police Department, as well as the Florida Department of Transportation, the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, and our sponsor, Geico. The mission of the Dory Schlossberg Foundation and this program is to reduce fatalities and serious injuries on our roads. The team of cyclists and their crew have done an outstanding job of spreading the message across the state, and their dedication should be commended. It is now an honor to introduce the Governor of the State of Florida, Governor Rick Scott.
Well, let's go on. Let's start with Emily.
Okay.
It's not you.
Okay, the governor will be out in a moment, and in the meanwhile, I would like to introduce Emily Schlossberg, who is the CEO of the Dory Schlossberg Foundation.
I'm not the governor, but I'm Emily Schlossberg. First, I want to say thank you to all the bike riders. You guys did an awesome job. And thank you to Geico, all the politicians that came out to support the cause, and to Tara Kirshner. We couldn't be here without you. Today marks the anniversary of Dory's death, February 23rd, 1996. I lost my twin sister in a car crash. And I know right now she's looking down on us, and she's very, very, very pleased that everybody's out here supporting the cause. And I know she's also very proud of my father, State Representative Irv Schlossberg. He's dedicated his life to traffic safety, to saving lives on the roads, and he fights continuously. And now I'd like to introduce you to my favorite father, my only father, and my favorite representative, Irv Schlossberg.
Thank you, Emily. And I'd like to thank everybody who's out here today. And I don't want to single out anybody because I'm afraid of leaving someone out. So I'd like to thank the whole road safety team and all the bike riders out here. And I'd like to especially thank Tara Kirshner. Tara, where's Tara? She is the executive director of the foundation and did a great job. And I'd like to thank Tara. Governor's here? Governor's in the house? Governor, we'll let you go. I'm Rep. Schlossberg, Dory's father.
Yep.
We'll let you go ahead of me, Governor.
Oh, great. First, thank you very much. So you guys rode how many miles? 400 miles? Is that what it was? How many? Oh gosh, that's a long way. So, did you get sore? Not really. You're ready. So, well, congratulations on doing that. And hopefully everybody was safe. Did anybody get hurt? Right there, right? That's so fun. I love riding bikes. So I want to congratulations on competing bicycle tour and carrying a message of road safety. Thank you for coming to Tallahassee to make your voices heard. It's very important, especially here during session. Floridians like you help make our state the best place to live, work, and play. Thank you for increasing safety of drivers, cyclists, motorcycles, and pedestrians. I want to thank our law enforcement and the Florida Department of Transportation and Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. They work hard every day to enforce the laws and educate motorists to make them aware of the laws and how to be more safe. And as we all know, I just went to my 11th funeral of a law enforcement officer since I've been in office, and they put their lives at risk each and every day. And we have to be very thankful for what they do each and every day. Drivers share a great portion of the responsibility. When we get behind the wheel, we each have a responsibility to practice safe driving, to be alert and not distracted. Others who share the road with us deserve it, and all of us have been around individuals that have had accidents because they were, listening to music, looking around, being on the phone, doing some of the wrong things. Simple things drivers can do to make roadways safer for everyone: limit distractions. And this message isn't just for teens. I remember when my daughter started driving. We didn't want them, they couldn't have cell phones, they couldn't listen to music in the beginning. all the things, and especially my older daughter when she started driving. She only knew acceleration and brake. But parents and other adults have to be safe also. Driving should be the #1 priority when you get behind the wheel. Everyone knows you have to drive sober, and make sure your friends and family drive sober. Impaired driving continues to be one of the biggest contributors to crashes. And finally, everyone needs to buckle up and absolutely make sure that all children are properly restrained. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I know all of us have either friends or loved ones that have been injured because of accidents where people were distracted and just horrible things have happened all around this country. So thanks a lot for the opportunity to be here.
I'd like to thank Governor Scott and all the bike riders. And today is like a tough day for me because anniversaries are usually good things. Unfortunately, it's the anniversary of my daughter Dory's death. And so it's a very solemn day for myself and her twin sister Emily. You just never know what happens in life. It's the last kind of thing that I expected. Always told my kids, don't go with strangers in a car, buckle up. And first chance they get, my daughter's dead, and my other daughter, Emily, barely survived. And if it wasn't for law enforcement and fire and rescue paramedics, she'd be dead today. They got her to the trauma center in 11 minutes. And Emily and I would like to thank the law enforcement and trauma center. I'm here, I'm the state representative, and I'm here because of Dory and Emily. And I'm here because of the fact that I remember the day I got old was the day this crash happened, and the day my daughter Dory died, February 23rd. I was the rep from 2000 to 2006. I took a breather and I came back in 2010, and I'm a freshman now. And so you can ask me, well, what's the reason? Why did I come back? Well, I had a feeling that road safety in the state of Florida is going backwards, especially for teenagers. And Governor, it is. Fatalities are on the rise. And not only are they on the rise, the state of Florida has one of the biggest rises in the country. Florida is one of the states that's leading the traffic fatalities among 16 and 17-year-olds. Here it is, an independent poll that came out a week ago. This is not good news for the state of Florida. We're here as a team. My daughter Dory is watching down on us, and she's part of our team. She may be dead, but her spirit lives on as the Dory Schlossberg Foundation. In honor of Dory, our team will turn the state of Florida around and will become the leader instead of the state that's being talked about, whose road safety fatalities among teenagers are one of the worst states in the country. In honor of Dory, we're going to tighten our distraction laws. In honor of Dory, we're going to increase our penalty for repeat DUI offenders. In honor of Dory, we're going to make it tougher and tougher that drunks are on the road. In honor of Dory, we're going to strengthen our graduated licensing laws. In honor of Dory, we're going to make Florida a better, safer place to live. Dory, in our hearts, you're always going to be with us. I'd like to thank everybody here. God bless America. God bless Florida and the United States, and especially, God bless our children, our teenagers who drive on our roads. They need God's blessing every day. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce the Florida Secretary of Transportation, Arath Passad.
Thank you, Tara, and thank you, Representative Schlossberg. If you don't know Representative Schlossberg, he's been a tireless champion for highway safety, and I get the pleasure of working with him on many of the initiatives that we do. I'm also grateful for this opportunity to discuss highway safety on our Florida highways and transportation facilities. Safety is the department's #1 priority, and we want to work with all of you in trying to get to our goal of 0 deaths on highways in the state of Florida. As Representative Schlossberg mentioned about teen deaths under ages 16, 17, let me give you some other stats. Florida highways have been the safest they've ever been in decades. Over the past 5 years, we've seen a decline in 30% reduction in highway fatalities. Alcohol-related fatalities have been on down 20% between year 2009 and 2010. Motorcycle fatalities have been on a reduction, 17%. And our seatbelt usage has been highest that's ever been. But there are a couple of things that we're not very proud of. One is bicycle and pedestrian fatalities. Florida and its metropolitan areas continue to be ranked in the country as one of the most deadliest places for bicycle and pedestrian fatalities. And what I want to make a commitment to you from the Department of Transportation is we are very committed to making sure we turn that trend around the right direction starting this year. To that end, I've formed a team led by one of my leadership team members, Billy Hadaway, who's an avid bicyclist. He's rode the bicycle around many of the highways, and he's going to lead the charge in making sure we implement policies and procedures to turn that around. And I'm committed, and the department is committed to making sure that our highways are the safest for not only the motorist, but also for pedestrian and the bicyclist. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. I'd now like to introduce Robert Morrow, who is the Assistant Vice President from the Geico Insurance Company.
Thank you, Tara. Good afternoon, everyone. As the Chief Claims Officer for Geico in Florida, on behalf of the 2,300 associates that we employ down in Lakeland and across the state, I want to tell you how honored we are to sponsor this wonderful, wonderful event. We also would like to extend our thanks to everyone for being in here this afternoon and joining us for this event. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the brilliant work of our fearless riders and the hundreds of miles that you logged in, crossing the state and visiting our state universities, allowing us to get the message out to many more people. Frankly, your efforts serve as an inspiration and a reminder to all of us that we could all be doing more. So thank you very, very much. I'd like to thank Irv and the Dory Schlossberg Foundation for their continued brilliant work. They do a great job of continually bringing us all together to look for ways to improve highway safety and save lives. They are truly doing the Lord's work. I'd also like to thank all of the support teams who have worked quietly behind the scenes that make an event like this a reality. And finally, I'd like to thank everyone here for all of the things that you do every single day to make our Florida highways safer. Thank you all very, very much.
Thanks, Bob.
Good to see you, man.
I'd now like to introduce Representative Joseph Abruzzo.
Thank you. You know, it is fitting on Dory's anniversary. Mr. Secretary, I listened to the stats you read about seatbelt usage. And to the children out there and to the teens who are just starting to drive, when you buckle up, that law is the Dory Schlossberg law. And I watched Irv and his foundation fight year after year from when I first arrived in Florida to get that done for you. And it's very encouraging, the stats that were given today. To the governor, you know, public safety, I remember when you ran, Governor, it's not a Democrat issue, it's not a Republican issue, it's the people of Florida's issue. And I know your commitment stands strong to work with Representative Schlossberg and all the colleagues and all in the state legislature to make sure we have the safest roads possible. I would like to thank our law enforcement. Yes, without you, we would be in big trouble. You save our lives, you're here for us. And just one more, and I'd like to say to Emily, I've watched you, we were basically growing up together in South Florida, and the work you've done on behalf of your sister, I know she's looking down on you, prouder than ever, and thank you for everything. So thank you, Irv, thank you, Governor, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Joseph.
The Florida Highway Patrol gave the escort for these riders through their entire tour. And I would now like to introduce their Colonel, David Brierton, with extreme thanks. Big hand of...
Thank you. I just want to thank everybody for being here today. And on behalf of the Florida Highway Patrol and the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, I want to congratulate the riders and thank them for their contribution. We know it was a long ride, and I know we were alongside you the whole way, and hopefully everything went fine. I also want to thank the Dory Schlossberg Foundation for inviting us to participate during this week's activities. We appreciate the partnerships we have with our safety advocates, and we find that it's very important in order to get the message across to work with the law enforcement officers and other government entities as well as safety advocates. So what makes this week's message so important? Survive the drive. As Secretary Prasad had spoken about already, our fatalities. You know, even though we've shown a decrease in fatalities, one fatality is too many. And it's our mission to reduce those fatalities and drive it down to zero, and that's our goal. Last year, more than 2,300 people were killed on Florida's highways. And although that's the lowest number reported since 1978, we believe we need to continue to work towards reducing that down to zero. We can also count on our partners to work together by bringing the community and law enforcement organizations together to address these issues on traffic safety. Our department is committed to making Florida's drive environment safer for the residents and visitors. We are keenly aware that combining traffic enforcement as well as educational campaigns will help keep the downward trend. By working together, we can make Florida's roadways safe. And again, thank you for what you did, and thank you for allowing us to be here.
I'd now like to bring up Chief David Perry, and we have something for Chief Perry, because without him allowing his staff to come and organize and participate and make this ride possible, we could not have done it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Tara, thank you so much for this award. It's a pleasure just to be here today. It's a wonderful day. 400 miles, 4 days to bring more awareness to traffic safety, to try to make the roads safer for the young people that are on these steps and the young people that are in the audience and the people that are traveling on Appalachia and on Monroe. This is about everyone's safety, so we don't take it lightly. For those 41,000 students that we have the responsibility for educating and trying to give them the right direction, we take that very seriously. There were three main factors that made this event come to a huge success. One is GEICO. GEICO is a huge sponsor, and we thank them. Thank GEICO for their help. The next visionary is Irv. Without Irv's help, we wouldn't be here today. So he's a huge visionary. We have to give thanks to him. And you can tell the talent within the FSU Police Department, because without the vision of Deputy Chief Jim Russell, these events, other traffic safety initiatives would not be where they are today. So thank you so much, Jim Russell. You know, life is very fragile, and we don't take that for granted. I hope everyone will pay a little more attention to their actions as they're driving. Don't be distracted. Don't listen to music. Please pay attention to the roadways. And I'm reminded just off in the distance as one of my motor officers is in a wheelchair who was injured by a vehicle that was distracted that pulled out in front of him. Officer Mike Rhodes is recovering. I'm glad he's here today, and thank you so much, Mike, for what you do for the citizens in the state. Again, we want to thank the law enforcement, Colonel Brierton, your support, local law enforcement, EMS, fire. We could not have done this tremendous ride without you. And it was not without blood, sweat, and tears, literally blood, sweat, and tears along the way, as we had a rider take a fall, but they're okay, but they did sacrifice that. So the riders, thank you for your sacrifice, your time, your effort, your energy, and we look forward to doing this again next year. Thank you so much.
I'd now like to introduce the Superintendent of Leon County Schools, Jackie Pons.
Well, today's a very special day for all of us, but I wanted to start out and thank Representative Schlossberg for his leadership. The students that are here in front of us today from the Leon County school system are part of a driver's education program that would not be possible without his leadership. So let's give him a big hand for what he's done for the state of Florida. I thank Governor Scott for being here and all of the heroes that are behind me. These are the individual students that you should look to as far as role models for your future. And even though today is a day that we come together and we talk about what we're going to do, I think the most important thing we can do today is to carry this message every day that we live, that we have to do everything we can to keep our children safe and to protect their future. Thank you for having me here today, and thank you, Representative Schlossberg, for your leadership.
Now, on behalf of the Enterprise Rent-A-Car, I'd like to present Vice President Thomas Brady.
Thank you, Tara. Good afternoon, everyone. Representative Schlossberg, thank you so much for having us. Geico, as always, you guys are doing a great job creating awareness for this great cause. On behalf of Enterprise Holdings, I would like to talk about one of our core mission statements is to make sure that we completely satisfy every one of our customers. And with that being said, we've done very good in the community, and we need to help out to create awareness for the community for great events like this and to create awareness. One of our biggest mantras is having the biggest fleet in North America. We want to make sure that every one of our vehicles is safe for our customers. And we want to make sure that there's no distractions while our customers are using our vehicles. I just heard a stat that if you go down and look to do a text and take 4 seconds driving 55 miles an hour, that is basically the same as being blindfolded driving 100 meters. We cannot take that risk. The good news is there is being awareness being given out there. For you teens, the Glee episode that was on the other night, they're talking about this main issue of texting and driving. We have to make sure that life is too important. I know many things right now for you guys. You need to get everything updates in an instant. We have to slow down sometimes and be aware that driving safety is the most important thing. And along with the Dory Schlossberg Foundation, the biggest thing is thank you to the drivers for 400 miles in 4 days. That's incredible. Creating awareness, slowing down, and being safe should be the mission of everyone. So thank you guys so much today.
Okay, we saved the best for last. I'd like to call up Major Jim Russell, the Survive the Drive bike team, Connie Russell. Everybody, come on up.
Go get him, Jim.
Come on, Jim.
Go get him, Jim. Our bike leader.
Why are you walking so slow? I gotta tell you that this has been, out of the many bike rides that I've done or tours that I've been involved with, this has been the most brutal. And I tell you what, we weren't sure that if we were going to be able to pull this thing off in the end. We still got riders out there on the road coming in on US 90. That we had some mechanicals today. We had some pretty tough conditions. They're tired, they're worn out, they're doing their best to make it here by noon. And I said, you know, we were out there at the last rest stop, and I got Kevin O'Brien here and Karen Lowen to break off the group and sacrifice their time to come up here to make sure they were here with us. And we were just going to come straight up here to the Capitol and just talk about the riders out on the road. But we went by the Kirkman building, and there were our local cyclists there coming out in support of us. You guys. And I said, guess what? You guys are on the team. And Karen led them up here, and that's exactly what this entire ride is about. It's about the community coming together to make a statement. People from all walks of life. Law enforcement, people in private business, people that are in the medical field, people that are first responders, people that have a stake in traffic safety, which we all do, people that have lost loved ones, coming together and making a unified statement that this is important to us. It's so important that we're willing to sacrifice and ride 400 miles in tough conditions. And I tell you what, I've seen my friends leave blood on the road in this ride, literally. Saw a rider go down. I spent 9 hours in the hospital with her. It was so important to her that she sacrificed herself literally for this. And you know what she wanted to do? The thing she was most upset about is that she couldn't ride. She couldn't get back involved with it. She wanted to get back on the bike. She wanted to ride back up here to the Capitol. That's the drive behind all of this. If people are willing to do so much to make a difference, to sacrifice, to put themselves through pain, then that's difficult. That's hard to do. Comparatively speaking, how hard is it to buckle a seatbelt? How hard is it to make a decision not to drink and drive? How hard is it to pull over if you have to answer a text? How hard is it just to stop at the stop sign? That's easy stuff comparatively speaking. Easy. And that's all we want people to do, is make easy choices. Those easy choices keep people from getting killed and keep them from getting hurt. And that's what this is all about. And I'm going to yield a little bit of time here to my fellow cyclists and let them say a few words, because it would be really wrong for me not to. And I'm going to yield a little bit of time here to my wife, Connie, and because that's what it's all about, is people who are stakeholders sharing their stories and making a difference. I want to thank Geico. I want to thank the Dory Schlossberg Foundation. I really want to thank FHP for being there every step of the way. I want to thank my colleagues at FSUPD, all the universities that were involved, the Florida Sheriff's Association, Florida Department of Transportation, DHSMV, our local fire departments, EMS, everybody stepped up to make this happen. Such a long list of people. But that's the community coming together and making a difference. That's how we make change. I just want to thank everybody again, and I'm going to go ahead and yield to my friend Kevin here real quick.
Thank you, Jim. Hi, everybody. My name is Kevin O'Brien. I am a lieutenant with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office in West Palm Beach, Florida. I got to tell you, when I was given the awesome opportunity to join this group of riders and staff, I jumped at the chance. And you know, we put a lot of sweat, a lot of effort into it for the last 4 days. In fact, some of the riders here wanted to borrow my jersey, but when they smelt it, probably not, because it's got 400 miles of sweat. But we had a great time doing this, and along the way, we got a lot of thumbs up. We got a lot of honks from drivers. We got a lot of attention our way in order for us to sell this message to the driving public, the cycling public, pedestrians, and most importantly to the students out here in Florida, how important it is to pay attention while you're driving. About 30 years ago, my wife lost her sister to a driver that fell asleep behind the wheel of a semi-tractor trailer. And every year around Christmas time is when the anniversary comes up, so it's always a sombering and a sobering Christmas holiday time, because we put a little time aside to remember her. I had a great time doing this. I am so very pleased to have been a part of this. Chief, thanks for letting Jim come out and play for a week. We appreciate that. Connie and Jim and all the riders were awesome. Thank you very much for allowing us to have this time as well. Thank you. Drive safe.
I started riding bikes probably about 8 years ago. About 3 years ago, I switched over to mountain bikes and went into the woods. And my friends that were roadies would say to me, "Come on, let's do this 100-mile ride." And I'd say, there ain't nothing that would get me on a saddle for 100 miles ever again. It would have to be a really good cause. Well, this is my really good cause. This is Dave Baton. He was killed last June on his bicycle riding with his son by a woman who was turned around backwards in her car and smashed into him and killed him. This is Dave's 2 kids that are left without a dad. This is the son that was also hit in that accident. So when it came about that this was going to be an opportunity for me, my friend Kelly, who is the mother of one of his children, she said, "Go for it, girl, you can do it." I've never ridden 400 miles. I've never ridden more than 200 at a time. but I did it. And I can't. I was riding with Ironmen and triathletes and people that were way better athletes than me. And I am also supposed to tell you, they're on Capitol Circle. They're on their way up on Appalachian Parkway. I hope you guys will stick around for them, because the last 30 miles of this ride would have absolutely killed me. So they will be practically dead when they get here, and I hope you guys will stick around. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Geico. Thanks to FHP. I'm telling you, all the sheriff's departments, you guys rock.
Hi, I'm Connie Russell. I'm actually Major Russell's wife, and we didn't meet under the best of circumstances. We met because my son my only child, was a student at Florida State University. He was a senior with 1 semester left to go, a marine biology major, when a drunk driver chose to kill him over Christmas break of 2006. Over a week's time, I watched my son die. I can promise you that there's nothing worse, there's nothing more excruciating than watch your child slowly die, and especially because of a senseless, preventable crime. It's something I live with and I will never forget, and I live with every day. And that's how my husband and I met, at his candlelight vigil at FSU, because we started doing DUI work together. My son didn't have to die. My son shouldn't have died. As Representative Schlossberg told you that it's the anniversary of his daughter's death, it never gets easier, ever. There is no worse loss in this world than the loss of your child, because your child's not supposed to leave before you. But when your child leaves because of the selfish act of someone else, there's no way to justify that in your mind. And that's why we're working so hard for traffic safety. In the blink of an eye, I was never called mom again. The drunk driver chose to kill my grandchildren. I stand here because I don't want other parents to stand and tell their children's stories. I don't want them wearing my shoes. They're ugly shoes and you can't take them off. I don't want other parents going up to school and cleaning out their children's dorm rooms or their houses, their apartments. Texting and driving, drinking and driving, drowsy driving. My nephew just was in a crash drink because of drowsy driving. He's now blind. He's just turned 20. It's all preventable. These cyclists are all our heroes for what they did, for sacrificing what they, for sacrificing 5 days of their time to spread the word, to save lives, to save your lives, to save your children's lives, your wives, your brothers, your sisters. I don't want any of you to stand here because your child is gone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I want to thank Governor Scott for taking time out of his very busy schedule to come here and be with us and support the riders and everybody who's been involved with this huge, huge event. I'm glad everybody is safe and sound, and thank you all for coming out today.